Towering over the sacred city of Mecca like a modern-day colossus, the Abraj Al-Bait Clock Tower is more than just a landmark, it is a staggering marvel of contemporary engineering, religious symbolism, geopolitical significance, and hidden intent wrapped in polished glass, steel, and gold-plated ornamentation, all looming beside the holiest site in Islam, the Masjid al-Haram. While its gleaming facade and massive crescent-top spire are unmistakable to millions of pilgrims making the Hajj and Umrah, very few realize that this towering structure, which holds the title of the third tallest building in the world and bears the largest clock face ever constructed, may serve purposes that go far beyond the mere telling of time or housing luxury accommodations. Officially, the tower contains a shopping mall, a five-star hotel, prayer rooms, a lunar observation center, and an Islamic museum, but these outward functions may only scratch the surface of what this enigmatic structure truly represents. In reality, the Abraj Al-Bait is a symbol of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's quiet but assertive cultural rebranding, its technological aspirations, its consolidation of religious authority, and most intriguingly, its veiled participation in a much larger global infrastructure of timekeeping, surveillance, and spiritual power dynamics. Standing 601 meters tall, the tower was completed in 2012 after years of construction, replacing the historic Ayyad fortress, a decision that sparked international outcry from historians and preservationists who saw the demolition as an erasure of Ottoman heritage, but from the Saudi perspective, the fortress was an artifact of a bygone empire, while the clock tower was to become a beacon of modern Islamic identity, one that would rival not only Western skyscrapers but the very concept of Greenwich Mean Time itself. Indeed, one of the clock tower's most ambitious and cryptic goals is its attempt to redefine the world's temporal axis by promoting Mecca time as an alternative to GMT. Subtly proposing that the true spiritual and metaphysical center of the earth lies not in the zero meridian running through Greenwich, England, but in the heart of the Islamic world, in the sacred Kaaba itself, an idea that carries profound religious, philosophical, and political implications. The four-faced clock, each dial spanning 43 meters in diameter and illuminated by 2 million LED lights, is not merely an aesthetic spectacle, it is a bold signal that Mecca is not just a destination for the devout, but a global nerve center of celestial alignment, metaphysical orientation, and perhaps even surveillance technology hidden within the folds of its grandiose design. Rumors and reports persist that the uppermost levels of the tower house advanced astronomical equipment, capable not only of tracking lunar cycles for Islamic calendrical purposes but also potentially gathering satellite and astronomical data far beyond the publicized scope, sparking theories about military or strategic observational functions cloaked under the benign label of a lunar observation center. But to understand the tower's true hidden purpose, one must look deeper into the symbology, history, and location of this building, a place where time, faith, politics, and technology converge under the most sacred skies in the Muslim world. To grasp the full magnitude of the Abraj Al-Bait's hidden dimensions, one must first understand its physical proximity and symbolic dominance over the Kaaba, Islam's holiest site and the focal point of daily prayer for over 1 billion Muslims worldwide. For this architectural decision to build one of the tallest and most expensive towers ever constructed within a stone's throw of the ancient, unadorned cube was not made lightly, nor was it without meaning. The tower's overwhelming height and grandeur seemed to deliberately overshadow the modest Kaaba below, sparking debate about whether this was a spiritual homage or a subtle act of architectural overreach, as if the modern world, represented by concrete, glass, and steel, was attempting to enshrine, control, or even eclipse the spiritual center of Islam. Critics argue that the tower's physical mass and shimmering lights create a form of visual dominance that shifts focus away from the humble sanctity of the Kaaba toward the spectacle of modern Islamic wealth and technological prowess, while supporters claim that it serves to elevate the stature of Mecca on the global stage, transforming the holy city into not just a religious center but a beacon of Islamic pride and modern sophistication. But beneath these interpretations lies a deeper and more elusive layer. The idea that the clock tower is not merely a beacon for pilgrims or a timekeeper for the masses, but a symbolic gateway, a metaphysical antenna designed to align earthly worship with celestial rhythms, drawing on ancient traditions of sacred geometry, cosmic alignment, and spiritual architecture that trace back to Babylonian ziggurats, Egyptian obelisks, and even Solomon's temple, all of which sought to bridge the mortal and divine through vertical ascension and astronomical alignment. This is no coincidence, for the design of the Abraj Al-Bait incorporates Islamic geometric patterns and ancient numerological principles in ways that suggest a coded language of symbolism, one that speaks not just to the eye but to the subconscious, echoing the deep Sufi concept of the divine order manifesting in structure, repetition, and celestial harmony. The tower's placement, height, and even the timing of its call to prayer via loudspeakers that reach nearly 7 kilometers outward all imply a deeper intention to synchronize the collective devotional behavior of millions across space and time, effectively creating a central pulse of faith radiating outward from Mecca like a heartbeat, like the rhythm of the universe itself. And therein lies perhaps one of the most ambitious, and most hidden, purposes of the structure, the unification of time and worship into a single system, a spiritual synchronization that subtly shapes not only the religious behavior of Muslims but potentially their mental, emotional, and metaphysical orientation to the universe itself. In this context, the tower becomes more than a building, it becomes a temporal axis, a pivot of spiritual gravity around which not only Islamic rituals but consciousness itself might revolve. As if those who designed it understood that timekeeping is not a neutral act, but a deeply political and spiritual one, for whoever controls the clock does not just tell time, they shape reality. The concept of Mecca time becomes more than a novelty, it becomes an ideological statement and a metaphysical proposal, a quiet rebellion against Western colonial legacies embedded in Greenwich Mean Time, a call to decolonize the very structure of time by relocating its spiritual and mathematical epicenter to the city that millions face in prayer every day. Saudi scientists have proposed that Mecca lies in perfect alignment with the magnetic center of the Earth, a claim that, while disputed by Western geophysicists, has found eager audiences in parts of the Islamic world, suggesting that not only is Mecca spiritually central, but physically and geomagnetically central to the planet, an idea that, if true or even symbolically embraced, would elevate the tower's clock to more than a cultural emblem. It would make it a lodestar, a point of global temporal orientation in both the physical and spiritual senses. To reinforce this, the clock itself is 35 times larger than Big Ben, and visible from over 25 kilometers away. Its green and white illumination shining like a second moon over the desert, its upper crescent, the largest gold-plated crescent ever made, acting not just as decoration but as a symbolic receiver and transmitter, a fusion of antenna, minaret, and lunar iconography that connects heaven and earth, time and space, technology and tradition. And as we ascend to the tower's uppermost levels, we encounter the so-called Lunar Observation Center, ostensibly designed to monitor the moon for the purposes of confirming the Islamic calendar's lunar months, a noble and traditional function, but one that raises deeper questions when we consider the advanced optics, telecommunications equipment, and high-altitude visibility that such a center implies. Even more cryptically, some theorists suggest that the tower's astronomical functions may go beyond observation and into the esoteric, drawing from a lineage of hidden knowledge that spans Islamic mysticism, ancient astronomy, and modern quantum theory. There are whispers in certain intellectual circles that the tower may have been designed in accordance with ancient knowledge about Earth's energy lines, sometimes referred to as ley lines, and that Mecca itself may sit at the intersection of such energetic pathways, alignments known to ancient civilizations and utilized for the placement of temples, pyramids, and other sacred structures. If this is true, then the tower's immense height and deliberate design could act as an energy amplifier, drawing celestial power downward while radiating human devotion upward, creating a metaphysical circuit of spiritual energy that spans dimensions. To the rational mind, this may sound like fantasy, but to mystics, architects, and secret societies throughout history, it is a concept deeply embedded in the language of sacred architecture, a tradition that sees buildings not as inert shelters but as living instruments tuned to the frequencies of the cosmos. And thus, the Abraj Al-Bait becomes not only the world's tallest clock tower but perhaps the most symbolically potent building of the 21st century, one that redefines the relationship between religion, time, technology, and power. Beneath its glossy commercial exterior lies a contested terrain of meaning, a layered puzzle where every dial, spire, and corridor may serve dual or triple purposes, where the visible architecture conceals invisible functions, and where the act of looking becomes a form of submission, for the tower does not simply mark time, it commands attention, directs faith, and channels consciousness. In doing so, it quietly fulfills the hidden mandate of all great power structures throughout history, to shape not only the world we live in but the way we perceive it.